getting all set up. Is Darby going to use that mic?
Darby's going to use that mic. Now, you're going to pick up both guitar and voice for me on one mic here?
That's correct.
Okay. Can we have a little campfire, sir?
It is like that. Can we, while we're getting set up over here, do you mind answering a few questions first?
No, we're not on now.
Yeah, we are.
We're actually on the air.
We are.
Well, here we go. Ask away.
Okay, well, let's take it right from the top again. I'm Litch. We are the home of the rock concerts, 106 WHCN. Tonight at the Sting, the Jefferson Starship. I have the pleasure of having in the studio with me singer Darby Gould,
Some of us.
Paul Kantner, and Jack Casady. And
Hi, Liz.
thanks for being here.
Our pleasure.
Now, everybody knows about the Sting, Paul. I mean, most people around the area have been there, but what we need you to do is take us back to the Drinking Gourd and the Matrix Club.
Oh, my God.
That's at the other end of the spectrum.
You're pushing the memory cell limit here. What do you want to know?
You want a song? You want the Drinking Gourd?
Follow the drinking.
That's where it all began, though, right?
Yeah. It was just a little folk club
As a
in
matter
San
of fact,
Francisco.
as a matter of fact, a friend of mine did a benefit for Wavy Gravy recently in Berkeley, and we saw Charles Perry, who was one of the figures in those days. Good old Charles Perry, the poet.
Oh, right. That's true.
Right. And we saw he was in fine shape.
I don't want to be of any interest in people in Hartford, though, I don't think.
You never know.
Charles might be in Hartford as we speak. The sound system was so bad we had to go start our own club, actually, is what we did. And Marty got a bunch of dentists who had a lot of money that they wanted to invest in. They didn't know what. To convince them to start a club.
I like that.
And we were the house band.
A bunch of dentists.
A gaggle of dentists.
So the Matrix Club is basically the club that you guys started, correct?
Yeah. And we got to build it ourselves, and we built the stage to our own specifications as we were building.
You got to tell us about what happened to the band at the Longshoremen's Hall, the tribute to Dr. Strange.
Nothing happened to the band out of the unusual.
I'm saying, though, that was pretty early in the career, right?
Yeah.
One of the first.
The normal.
But was one of the first gigs?
Yeah.
Normal acid test.
It was a normal acid test. I mean, those were everyday affairs in San Francisco at the time. It was nothing out of the normal.
And the Human Being the same way when you first
Human
played
Being was a large surprise to everybody in that they were expecting about 200 people to show up. All the strange people in San Francisco, and something like 20,000 showed up. And we're amazed that there were that many other strange people in San Francisco.
That was the first one, right?
First one in the park, yeah.
Who was on the bill with you guys?
I think the Foggies thing. No, it's the Grateful Dead. As Robin Williams says, if you can remember the 60s, you weren't really there.
106.
I remember the Grateful Dead, and I remember Allen Ginsberg, and I remember Timothy Leary, and Jack probably remembers his girlfriend at the time.
Yes, and there was
Ginger. And
there was also a lot of garbage cans at the time. The new plastic garbage cans had entered the scene, and somebody figured out you could fill them up with Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the end for or the beginning of the beginning for audience participation, I think.
So basically, you guys were baked. That's what you guys were cooked back then. That's what we're coming to, right?
It was a sunny day.
History treats that a little more than it was, but yes, you couldn't help but get somehow involved in the ambiance of the time.
We were meditating that day.
The home of the rock concerts, 106 HCN tonight at the Sting in New Britain. It's the Jefferson Starship. Speaking with us, Darby Gould, Jack Casady, and Paul Kantner. In fact, Jack's going to tell us about the Triumphs.
The Triumphs. Well, the Triumphs was one of my first bands in Washington, D.C., which a partner of mine and another band called Hot Tuna. We started out in high school together, and Yorma being almost 4 years older, I was in junior high, and we had a band called the Triumphs in 1958. And I played guitar, and Yorma played acoustic guitar. I played lead guitar then. And we played Buddy Holly songs and all that kind of stuff. It was called lead guitar then, and nobody could afford a bass rig, so everybody tuned the strings down on a regular guitar to get a low end sound on it. And that's how it was in those days. And that was the beginning of the Triumphs.
While you're talking about guitar, I'd like you to tell us about the experience playing with Jimi Hendrix's experience on the Electric Ladyland album.
Well, that was yes, that was a lot of fun. And there was a place called The Scene, run by Steve Paul in New York a lot, and all kinds of bands play there. As a matter of fact, that particular night at the session that Jimmy was doing his double album, he had just had an altercation, I believe, with his producer. at the time, and in the middle of it, of his making that record, he decided to produce it himself. And Steve Paul's Scene was a club where all the musicians they'd play in town, they'd go to after their jobs were over. And I think Steve Winwood's band was playing there at the time. So when all of that was over, we all converged upon the Electric Ladyland studio. And so it ended up about 8 in the morning. There was Steve Winwood, myself, Mitch Mitchell, and Jimi Hendrix. And he had done Voodoo Child in one version and did it as a slow blues version, which we did it in one take, which was, pretty easy for people who like to play the blues. And it worked out really well, and we had a lot of fun doing it,
Great. Home of the Rock Concerts,
And
106.
The rest is history.
HCN, I'm Lich. We're speaking with Darby Gould in just a moment, of course. Paul Kantner, you just heard from Jack Casady. Tonight, Jefferson Starship over at the Sting. Darby,
Yes.
The obvious question, how'd you come to the band?
Well, Paul saw me singing with my band at San Francisco World Entertainment War, and I was friends with his daughter China, who introduced me to him after he came to many of my shows. And he asked me to do some acoustic work. He'd been doing some demo work with different female vocalists, and I started performing with him, doing some acoustic shows, and then he decided to put this Starship project together, and I'm doing that too.
It's pretty ironic when you think about it that you're in the group. One of the biggest classics, Somebody to Love, was written by a Darby.
Yes, and there's a guitar player in the Starship named Slick as well.
Right, that's pretty ironic,
We're
though.
going to have a guitar tech soon named Grace, so last name Grace, so Prairie's cousin.
And we're working on Grace herself.
So you guys ready to do it?
Yes.
And Lady, of course.
Yes.
Are we rolling?
What are we going to hear?
We haven't warmed up at all. Shall we croak first? There we go. If you smile at me, you know I will understand. 'Cause that is something everybody everywhere does in the same language.
Well, I can see by your coat, my friend, that you're from the other side. There's just one thing I gotta know. Can you tell me, please, who won?
You must try some of my purple berries. I've been eating them for 6 or 7 weeks now. Haven't got sick once. Probably keep us both Wooden ships on the water, very free, easy, the way it's supposed to be. Silver people on the shoreline, leave us be, so very free and easy. Sail away where the morning sun goes high. Sail away where the wind blows sweet, young birds fly. Take a sister by her hand, lead her far from this foreign land. Horror grips us as we watch you die. All we can do is echo your anguished cries. Stare as all your human feelings die. We are leaving, you don't need us. sister by her hand, lead her far from this foreign land, somewhere where we might laugh again. We are leaving, you don't need us. No, you don't need us here. Think I'm gonna set a course and go away. On the water, very free and easy, you know, the way it's supposed to be. Silver people on the shoreline leave us be so very free and gone.
106 WHCN, the home of the rock concerts. Tonight at the Sting, we present for you Darby Gould, Jack Casady, Paul Kantner, the Jefferson Starship. If I
Tell me
can't,
about the Sting. Tell me something exotic and dangerous about the Sting.
you're gonna love it.
That I
You'll be
should
loving
enjoy.
it.
Didn't it used to be an old supermarket or something?
Bowling alley, I think,
Oh,
right? Or
right.
supermarket? Supermarket. Right? Oh, bowling alley. I am
Supermarket?
correct.
Bowling alley.
There you go.
I've played a few bowling alleys.
I guess a few people have been framed on that way, huh? Oh, man. Okay, as we move along quickly
He's
now.
fast today here, folks.
We're going to try to shake the tree mentally of Paul Kantner. We're going to try again to go back to 67 with
I had an
Surrealistic
interesting
Pillow.
metaphysical experience the other morning. I had in one ear, I was listening to Rush Limbaugh. You know Rush Limbaugh? And in the other ear, I had Howard Stern coming in from New York. And it was like really metaphysical stereo of the nth kind. So I can't compare to anything that's going to happen to Sting tonight, I don't think.
Little existentialism, huh? Let's go back to 67 with Surrealistic Pillow. How did Jerry Garcia get involved in the project?
Well, we were all just real close. Similar community. Like, we always had trouble with Bill Graham because he always wanted us to go out of town and work. And, of course, we didn't want to leave town and work. We wanted to stay playing acid tests and everything else that was going on in San Francisco. So he would get like 3 weeks out of us every 10 or 12 or 20. And we would hang around with all the other bands. And we'd go to each other's shows. And we'd do stuff with them, and they'd do stuff with us. And we had our first recording experience, had one of those typical L.A. record producers. You know, it was just sort of, you know what I mean. So for our second record, we just didn't want that to occur again. And so we thought it would be a good idea for Garcia to help produce the album sort of as an onlooker more than anything else, just commenting like a Greek chorus perhaps on the side of what was going on.
He also got a free ticket to Los Angeles. You know. He got to mess around, you know.
He got to party in Los Angeles.
He got to party in Los
We went
Angeles
down
for a
there.
while.
Only for a week, though, wasn't it? 10 days, something like that.
Well, see, in those days, Paul, that's all it took to record a record.
Right.
You know.
Oh, until our third record.
Until our third record, when we got
Then
the
we further
power
took
and
the reins.
we got the power ourselves, and then spent 3 months to record a record. You know.
7 months.
Yeah. Oh, oops. Sorry. 7 months. Yeah.
You know, you mentioned staying in the community. You got to tell us, speaking about what goes on at the Sting, tell us a pretty interesting story about what happened at 2400 Fulton Street. I mean, there must be one experience you can pass along to us.
Well, you know,
I
that was.
drove by it once.
Yes, that was a bit later on. As a matter of fact, after we got that, was a lot of the community began to disperse at that point. But the era that Paul was referring to was probably 66 and 67 was about the best as far as of the bands not going nationwide and looking for any excuse to play together in an outdoor show. And then you generally have the same 5 bands overlapping each other at all the shows. So there's a lot of playing with each other. Then when English bands started coming in and blues bands that at our request, by the way, to Bill, because he was our manager during for about a year and a half. We suggest a lot of more obscure players. Then those all started overlapping, and the shows got very eclectic. And you'd have jazz people on shows with rock people and blues people, and all for about $2.50. So it was quite a
three bands,
amazing,
$3. It eventually became. That was a little expensive, we thought.
How did you guys hook up with Bill Graham? I mean, it's the obvious choice of that area of the country.
Bill Graham worked with the SF Mime Troupe for in I guess 64 and 65. And being a ham himself, the complete ham, and a frustrated actor, and of which he's still just had finished the movie Bugsy before his untimely death. He knew about putting on shows, and I think that was it grew. The whole community at that time, there was artists in it, and musicians, and poets and actors, and any excuse to perform was the motto of the day, and he was the guy that could pull it together and actually get it to happen in some sort of organized fashion. And so a lot of events centered around he and a guy named Chet Helms, who ran the Family Dog or Avalon Ballroom. And so those two main people were able to get the musicians to try to show up on time, and good luck too, and put on a show and have the people come and listen to it as an alternative to shows that were in North Beach or stage shows that pop rock acts would play at the Cow Palace or something like that. And the motto was you never wanted to play those large places because they were a symbol of the decadent money-grabbing mongers and whatnot, and so there was a lot of alternative places to play, and if there wasn't, then we played outside.
Free.
Digital 105.9 WHDN, the home of the rock concerts. Tonight at the Sting, we present for you the Jefferson Starship with Darby Gould. That was Jack Casady just speaking, Paul Kantner. Since you were talking about playing outside...
We're not going to play outside.
No, but I mean, you must have some interesting thoughts about a monumental year for you gentlemen. August of 69, of course, Woodstock. In December that same year, Altamont with the Stones, correct? Both in the same year.
Yeah, that hindsight, I believe it reads a lot more into the beginning of the end, as it were. Mm-hmm. But Altamont basically was just a real botched job that turned into a real news media phenomenon. As Woodstock, being the opposite of that, turned out to be a news media phenomenon, but in a good sense. So that's just kind of what happened, and I think it's only later on you.
Yeah, Woodstock was a botched job too, in terms of organization and taking care of business.
Yes, exactly. We went on about. I think we went on at 6:30 in the morning in fine form, I may point out. And we were supposed to go on at 9 the night before. So yes, things were a little botched that way too. But it was just it was like Altamont was like putting a concert on the moon or something like that, and not giving people oxygen tanks. It was like poor. It was poor planning, but that's just what happened.
Jack, we got to stay centered around you for just a moment. And I checked with everybody in the building. It's okay for me to use the word hot on the air right now.
Yes.
So now, hot tuna was that first hot shit. So
wrong.
You can say
absolutely
wrong. No. Wait a minute.
I don't want to destroy your myth right now. I'll destroy it in a few minutes. Go ahead.
All right. So now you had to know that, well, because obviously you knew that wasn't going to happen, right? I mean, how would you introduce it? You know what I'm saying?
Well, first of all, it wasn't hot shit. That was some media along later on. What it was is a line and a song. What's that smell like fish? Oh baby, and the answer is hot tuna. So it has.
Very obscure.
Yes, it has a reference to the female parts and things like this. So I think that it's a tasty kind of thing, and that's how the name came about, hot tuna. And like a lot of other names at that time, through probably a certain amount of mind expanding activity and sitting around being really bored and talking amongst each other and coming up with names,
Digital 105.9 WHCN, the home of the rock concerts. I'm Litch, speaking with the Jefferson Starship. Tonight at the Sting, Paul, Blown Against the Empire, kind of a different billing for the band, because wasn't your name in the forefront at that point?
At which point?
That was the first time, I think, that the album Paul Kantner and the
Oh,
Jefferson?
yeah, that's when, airplane was spinning apart.
What happened?
We were all going off into I was going off to space, and Hot Tuna was going off to Hot. You can actually say shit on the air now these days. Is that true?
No, but when we play back the videotape, we'll just edit that part out.
Oh.
Videotape?
Yeah. No, I'm just...
You lost me there.
No, just come back to us, Paul. It's cool. I'm just playing with you.
You can't say that on the air.
No, really. You're allowed to say hot on the air. I don't think there's a problem with that.
Are you editing?
You got a Hugo award for that album, right?
Nomination. There were a lot of old censorship people, and the older people couldn't quite bring themselves to give the award actually away to a rocker. But yeah, I got a nomination from the younger contingents of the Hugo.
Flattered, right?
Huh?
Very much flattered, I was
For what
just
it's worth. That and 35 cents will get you the Hartford Times any morning of the week.
Let's do it again.
Okay.
The Jefferson Starship on 106 WHC.
This is one of our new songs. Actually, I'm doing a project with several women. That's how I got involved with Darby, and this is a song called Shadowlands. No, I'm singing with extraordinary women lead singers. God, you're always down in that Hot Tuna level, Jack.
Oh.
Get up in the sky. Okay, up into the sky. Yeah, let's raise ourselves up to the issue of serial murder of Republicans here,
I think.
which is what this song is about, actually.
Well, forgive me for interrupting, but I think we're overusing the word "hot" on the air. So let's not push our luck.
Didn't I say Hot Tuna? Oh, this song will push you. So get your edit button ready here a little bit.
Oh,
It's called Shadowlands. No, they got a button. Young girl in the city. She was a small town girl in the middle of the city of light.
What am I doing here?
What am I doing here?
I want to be dangerous, like a fire in the sky. There's burning barricades in the streets and fire in my eyes. La 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 la. La 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 la.
So there she sat with a diamond bullet in the center of her heart. Not a mile from here there are people living 10 to a room.
Not a mile from here, and a few streets further on.
They're sleeping in doorways, boxes, some of them children. And the sound of gunfire cracks the night in the Shadowlands. And the saxophone in the Shadowlands sings. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. She had nothing on but the radio. Her hair was nighttime black, and her eyes compelling me to dream.
Go out and change the world.
She said, compelling me to action. And in the night, strike with lightning, she will come and feed on dreams. With her hair streaming forth, burning with desire, and the storm deepens. Screams with thunder, lust enters into it. Sex, mouth, sweet, blood red. And as the sky explodes, I'm drawn to action.
first time that you ever fell in love, and you're both on the battle lines. It's like the first time that you were ever really alive in bed with the woman you're who's telling you she's incredible, monumental, better than Jesus. You gotta go She's a guide through the chaos, a road to the passion, between the earth and sky, where love is like a drug and everything is different. And we two will love each other, and we will still remember our first kiss as the action takes over. No thought of circumstance or consequence, all the rules change. She's a specialist in darkness, in the shadows.
106 WHCN. Darby Gould, Jack Casady, Paul Kantner, the Jefferson Starship. At the Sting tonight, I want to thank you very much for stopping in.
Thanks for having us, Les. Thank you very much.
Get over there and enjoy the show tonight. The Jefferson Starship, from the home of the rock concerts. Connecticut's best classic rock and roll is 106 WHCN.